A JavaScript developer tries Python for the first time. So, time for something a little bit different today. I, as many of you know, am a JavaScript developer by trade. I've used a few other languages in my time, but I'm a complete noob when it comes to Python. I thought it'd be really interesting to do a video of me trying to complete some of the Python coding challenges here on codewars.com. It will show you how transferable good programming skills are between languages and also give you an idea of how a seasoned dev in one language would go about coding in another language for the first time. The video will be a real-time fly-on-the-wall style video, so it's not scripted, it's just my thoughts out loud as I work my way through these exercises that I haven't seen before. This means my presentation style won't be great, as I'm really terrible at presenting unscripted. And there may also be loud noises in the background. I live in London, it's very noisy. Usually when I do a video, I do a retake of a particular part if that happens, but because this is real time, as it were, I won't be able to do that. So, to talk about Python briefly, all I know about Python at this stage is it's dynamically typed, it's object-oriented, and it uses code layout as syntax, so there should be far less curly brackets and semicolons than in JavaScript, and also things like tabs and new lines mean something syntactically. So let's jump in. So on the left we've got the instructions of what we've got to do, the type of solution in here, there's some sample tests here. Okay, so if we list all the natural numbers below 10 that are multiples of 3 or 5, we would get 3, 5, 6 and 9. Simple so far. The sum of these multiples is 23. Okay. Finish the solution so it returns the sum of all of the multiples of 3 or 5 below the number passed in. So below this number, I presume this is how in Python you declare a function. Finish the solution, blah, blah, blah. Note if the number is a multiple of both 3 and 5, only count it once. Courtesy of Project Euler.net. Okay, so the thing about being good at programming as opposed to just being good at a language is it teaches you a certain way of solving problems. So although I don't know how I'm going to do this in Python, in general programming terms I can come up with a solution to this. And there might be a better solution, my maths isn't that great, but in terms of brute force, if we can do some sort of for loop, I don't know if Python's got for loops, but if we can do some sort of loop like a for loop, and we can go from 1 to number minus 1, so in the case of 10 being passed in, 1 to 9, we can then check each individual number in turn to see if it's a multiple of 3 or 5, and if it is, we can add it to a running count, because we have to return the sum of all these. And the way we would check, I know in JavaScript there's the modulus operator, so basically 3 modulus 3 will be 0, 3 modulus 6 will be 0, but 5 modulus 3 won't be 0. So basically it's a function that returns 0 if something's a multiple of something else, so that's really handy for this. Okay, so first we want to create a variable to hold what's going to be our return value, the sum. Don't know how to even declare a variable in Python. I don't know. This is obviously a function. It's got def before it. Do I need to use def for variables? I have no idea. So I just Google. There is no variable declaration in Python. You just assign a value. See, I didn't even need to go through the web page and I've pretty much worked out how to do it. Yeah, so simple, I equals 32. So I'm going to initialize my variable at 0. I think we need to indent. Sum equals 0. And I nearly typed the semicolon then, but this isn't JavaScript, so I won't. Okay, so next, the loop from 1 to number minus 1. So I'm going to Google Python for loop. Python for loops. See how easy learning to program is. for x in fruits. That's not really what I want though. I want to be able to, because this is for x in array. I don't have an array. I want to go from a number to another number. Otherwise I have to build up a whole array. Range. To loop through a set of code a specified number of times, you can use the range function. The range function returns a sequence of numbers starting from 0 by default and increments by 1 by default and ends at the specified number. Okay, so we can use this for x in range number minus 1. So if number was 10, this would go... Where does it start? Does it start at 0 though? Starting from 0. I want to start from 1 really. It doesn't matter if we start from 0 if 0 modulus 3 isn't 0, but it is. So we can go from yeah, we need to handle the case where x is 0 because we want to discount that. Oh, using the start parameter. Brilliant. So now we go from 1. Do we need a colon? There's a colon, yes. Okay. We need a tab. So now we're going from 1 to, say, 9 if number's 10. And we want to check yeah, I warned you there would be banging about that I don't have a chance to cut out. Sorry about that. So we need an if, and we need Python module. Oh, I've spelled that wrong. Yeah, so basically learning to program, lots of Googling. Python conditions, if a more than b, if x modulus 3 is not equal to, I don't know if I have to do triple equals in Python, not equal to, or let's say if it is equal to 0, then at this point we want to we want to add x to sum, so sum, I don't know if we can do plus equal in Python, I presume so, it's very common in most programming languages. Okay, I think that should do it. And at this point I'm going to assume, what's that red thing? I'm going to assume we return from the function by doing return sum. How can we run this? Sorry, when I shoot videos I put my screen resolution weird and it messes up some websites. There we go. Oh, for God's sake. Badly programmed websites it messes with. Okay, we're going to attempt to run the tests. 9 should equal 23. Should handle zeros. That passes. 9 should equal 23. We've got to get some debugging output. Okay, let's see. There's a function called print. Let's see if we can print sum, because the tests are just telling us it's wrong. They're not telling us what the value is. Let's see if we can print number and sum, input and output. So 10 is getting passed in, and the result is 9. Oh, yeah, okay. So I've actually got the instructions wrong. So if it's a multiple of 3 or 5, and I've just done 3, so that's not going to give us the correct result. So I need to do an OR, Python conditions, OR. Okay, that looks simple enough. Or x modulo 5 equals 0. Attempt. 14 should equal 23. So I'm going to print x. So every time we loop through, I'm going to print the value of x, and I'm going to also print, this should print as a boolean, I hope, whether the condition's met. So this will just tell me if the loop's working correctly and if my logical condition is working correctly. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me just print out number as well. Oh, we're only going 1. So I've got the way range works wrong. It's from 1 to whatever you pass it minus 1. So we're only going 1 to 8 there. You can see it only goes up to 8. So I got the range function wrong. So let's do that. Yeah. Great. Okay, so just to go through the solution again, create a sum variable, 0, initialize it to 0, go from x to number minus 1, go from, 1 to number minus 1, that's what range will do for us, and then for each x in that range, I check whether the condition is satisfied, that it's a multiple of 3 or 5. If it isn't, I don't do anything. If it is, I add the value of x to the sum, and then when the loop finishes, the function returns sum. I don't know how to move on to the next question. Is there a next? Oh, I think there's a way I'm meant to submit this, but I'm not sure how. Is this website being silly again? Yeah, this website's not very good. If I all tests. Oh, submit final, there we go. Yeah, sorry, I'm having to keep this, the web inspector open, otherwise I won't be able to press any of the buttons down here because of it. This website doesn't handle unusual screen heights very well. Next one, please. Yeah, see, some clever fuckers managed to do it in one line. It's a bit of a random solution. Okay, next one. I want the next one. Next Carter. Train. Well, if this looks like it's going to be a long one, I'm not going to do it. Your goal in this Carter is to implement a difference function which subtracts one list from the other and returns the result. It should remove all values from list A which are present in list B. Oh, this seems simple enough. So you get the difference between A and B. But what happens if a value is present in B, all of its occurrence must be removed from the other. But if it's a proper diff function, shouldn't it show stuff that's in B but not in A? No, I guess it's just we remove from A anything that's in B. So brute force solution would be to loop through A, and for each item in A, check to see whether it's in B, and if it isn't, push it onto a new list perhaps is the quickest way, and then at the end return that new list. Yeah. This is a brute force solution because we're going through each item in here, and for each item in list A, we'll also be iterating list B to find out if the item is in the list. So it's probably not, from a computer science standpoint, the most efficient solution, but it's the solution I'm going to go with for now. So again, for x in A, that's our loop. Because remember, we needed range last time because we needed to go from a number to a number. In this case, we want to iterate the array, so we want x to be in turn each item in A, so we just do for x in A. See, I'm teaching Python already and I don't even know it. And I want to try and find a function that will tell me if an item is anywhere in an array. This is the sort of thing that will be built into a programming language. I don't want the fastest way, I want the easiest way. Oh, condition to check if element is in list. If lm in list. That's one. So we're also going to need to create a new list for our results. Well, that's like exactly like JavaScript. So we'll do results equals a new array. And what was the lm in list? If lm in list. So if x in A, no, if x is in B. So if x, which is an item from array A, is in array B, we're going to push it onto the results array. I wonder if I can do array push Python. Is that right? If it's no, if it is in B, then we remove it. So if not x in B, I don't know if I need the brackets. That's a bit strange. They don't use the exclamation mark if not x in b. I suppose it reads more like normal language than JavaScript. It's sort of less programmy and more like how a normal non-developer would speak. Python lists, add to array. I don't like this website, go away. Come on. W3 Schools, good resource. Access elements, length of the array, looping, adding. Append, rather than like JavaScript I'd use push, append. Okay, so if x is not in b, then we're going to results.append x. And at the end, don't forget to return the results. Let's see. Yep, pass first time. Boom, Python developer right here. Yeah, so I'll just go through this. So we had to remove every element from A. Well, no, that's not a very good solution, or it's not a very good description of what we had to do. We don't actually modify the A array at all. So saying we remove items from it is incorrect. We actually want to produce a new array, which is all the elements in A which are not also in B. So we create a new array that we're going to be returning, our results array, and we then loop through all the elements in A, and we check to see if they're not in B. If they're not in B, then we add it, because remember, the results is everything that's in A but not in B. So it looks like we're removing items from A, but actually we're creating a new array with all the stuff that isn't in B. So if it's not in B, we append to the results array, and then at the end we just return the results array. And I've done two. I think that's enough to give you an idea of what it's like when a JavaScript developer sits down to do a little bit of Python for the first time. I think the main point to grasp is, without even knowing Python, I already knew the methodology, the overall, I wouldn't say the algorithm, but I already knew what my approach to solving each challenge would be without even knowing anything about Python. So it goes to show that what learning programming, even in one language, teaches you, which is transferable across any language, is a general mindset or aptitude of how to solve sort of particular types of problems, sort of standard sort of problems that you'll face in programming. It shows you how to use programming languages to solve problems, how to think in sort of in the correct problem-solving mindset, let's say. And so once you've got that, you already know sort of in the abstract the sort of technique of how to solve a problem, in that I could write pseudocode to solve any sort of tech type problem. And then when it comes to learning the new language, the problem solving is probably 80% of it, and it's the hardest part. And then the remaining 20% is just, okay, how do I translate this solution into Python? I know exactly what the solution is, that's the hard part. Now I just need to find out the exact syntax of how I'll achieve this in Python, like how I'll create an array, how I'll check if an item's in an array, how I'll do a for loop in Python. And that can be achieved simply by Googling. So when a JavaScript developer sits down to do Python, he already knows how to solve the problems, but he has to do a lot of Googling to solve them in Python. Thank you very much.